Hey everyone, it is September the 3rd. I think I might be getting the days right in these last few videos. I hope so. I know it makes Linda really happy when I get the days right. It is so great to be with you, and we are going to take a little field trip for just a couple minutes back to Daniel. We're back in the book of Daniel, and it picks up right in Daniel 4. But remember, this is one of the only drawbacks, and I hate to even, it is a drawback. It's one of the only drawbacks that I have found about reading through the Bible chronologically, is that unless the Bible, unless the stories are chronologically close, some of the books are really chopped up. And you pick up here in Daniel 4 and you're like, okay, so what happened in Daniel 1 through 3? And so I feel like it's been a really long time since we've been in Daniel. But I do love the fact that we know that Ezekiel and Nehemiah were both prophets during the same time, and all of this was happening at the same time. I love all that. And then Ezra, I love all of that. But this is one of those times where I had to go, what was happening when we last left Belshazzar, which, of course, is Daniel and all of his friends. What happened last with them? And in chapter 2 is when he interpreted the dream. The king had a dream, and he was going to put to death all of the astrologers and the enchanters and all the people that could not figure out what the dream was. Remember, they not only had to tell him what his dream was, but they had to interpret it for him as well. And they couldn't, and they were like, "Oh, king, great king, oh my lord, we can't do this." L-O-R-D, lowercase. We can't do this. If you'll tell us what you dreamed, we can tell you what it means. It's like, no way, I'm not doing that. Just get everybody, kill everybody. Or I hate to use that word kill, but that's what he was saying. He was like, you're going to be put to death. And then Daniel's like, no, let me try, in other words. So he ended up interpreting the king's dream. And we find in the end of chapter 2 of Daniel, King Nebuchadnezzar says this: "Truly your God is the greatest of all gods, the Lord over kings and the revealer of mysteries, for you have been able to reveal this secret." Then the king appointed Daniel to a high position and gave him, this is second, I think I put this, it's Daniel 2, 47 through 49. I think I put this in your notes, but in case I didn't, it's Daniel 2, 47 through 49. He made Daniel ruler over the whole province of Babylon, as well as chief over all the wise men. And at Daniel's request, he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to be in charge of all the affairs of the province of Babylon, while Daniel remained in the king's court. So here he is declaring, wow, your God is the God of all gods. He's the greatest of all gods. He's the Lord over kings and revealer of mysteries. And then in chapter 3, we find that he builds himself a statue. Really? So pride took over. And then in chapter 4, where we are right now, Nebby has another dream. And, of course, he sends for Daniel to explain it. And Daniel explains it. And he didn't adhere to Daniel's warning. And what he said was going to happen actually happened. He ended up eating some grass and having himself knocked down a couple notches. He did not humble himself, so he was brought to destruction. Pride cometh before the fall, so he certainly did fall. But so that's where we are, and here's what struck me today, is the message never changes. It's so simple, and God doesn't contradict himself. He doesn't add things to it. He, in my opinion, as I've read, he just kind of redefines it in a more simpler terms. It's like, I remember trying to explain things, and even now sometimes try to explain things to my children. Well, one of them in particular, my 19-year-old, I have to explain things a little bit differently to him. But if he doesn't get it, if my kids when they were younger, they didn't get it, I would have to find another way to explain it. And I feel like that's what God does. He's just like clarifying and refining the same message. And it was just, it's very simple. And the message was simple for King Nebuchadnezzar. And it's the same thing for us. It's stop sinning. Basically, live holy. We are called to be holy as the Lord is holy. So stop sinning. Well, I mean, it's just plain and simple right there. Stop sinning and do what is right. Just live holy. Break away from your wicked past. Live righteously. Do whatever you have to do. Live rightly and break away from those habits and those things that you've been doing that are not of God and they're not right living. So break away from those, whatever it might be. In their case, it was idolatry. In their case, it was disobedience. And in my own case, I have my own set of issues and sins, and I'm sure you do too. But he just says break away from those. And then here we are back with the same message of be merciful to the poor. I mean, it's back to the law of leaving back when you are harvesting and you're gleaning your wheat. Leave it back for the poor. There's constant redirection to God's people to take care of the poor. And here's the message: live generously, live holy, live righteously, and live generously. This message was for Nebuchadnezzar, but you know what? This is a repeat of the New Testament. These principles apply to you and me as believers on the other side of the cross. It's the same thing. These same principles apply for us as well. The message is so simple. And our response is to heed the warning. Heed whatever warning comes our way. However God chooses to send us a warning. Maybe it's pricking our heart through a psalm, like he did for me with Psalm 134. Maybe it's pricking our heart with a message. Maybe it's living out a small part of the consequence that is to come for our disobedience. Whatever that might be, heed that warning and get right back to the simple message of living holy, living righteously, and living generously. We'll see you tomorrow and read through the Word.